Hi guys, this is Miss Kelly again. Today I'm going to do a quick lesson on your EndNotes assignment. This is assigned on Wednesday, May 15th, and it's going to be due beginning of class on Friday, May 17th. So you have 2 days in class to work on this. You'll both classes will spend a day in the library, so hopefully that's helpful for you to use the computers there. This lesson is on EndNotes, which, as the name implies, is the very end of your presentation and of your multi-genre research project. This project obviously is very, very research heavy, or at least it should be. So it's really important that you do a great job assessing your sources and doing some reflection. So I'm just going to jump right in. As always, make sure that you're logging into computers as quickly as possible, and at the end of the class, please make sure you are getting a daily debrief into my hands before you leave. Let's start. Okay, so for each of your EndNotes, you have at least 10 sources which were due to me throughout the entire project, and those should be completely finished on your sources page. Now, for each source, each of your 10 sources, you are going to do the following. You are going to write a full citation in MLA format. I will be demonstrating that in just a minute, but that needs to happen for every single one of your citations, especially if you have those core 10. After you've written the full citation, you are going to write a reflection and some commentary on that source. It's really important you're doing this part of it, because then you're assessing the credibility and completeness of each source. So I want you to answer the following questions in your reflection for each of your 10 sources. 1, how do you know the source is credible and accurate? We did a whole lesson on this towards the beginning of the unit, in which we did some assessment of different websites around the web. You guys have a sheet that looks like this, where you got true and false statements, and you mark them true or false based off of what you found in each site. You should still have this page. I have some copies if you need it. These are the things that you're going to be looking for when you are assessing the accuracy and credibility of each site. Is all of the information around the source's publication clearly listed? Do you have an author? Do you have an idea of who the company that posted that source is, or the organization that posted that source is? Does it have supporting evidence? Are other articles to verify that information linked when possible? Is it clearly content and not an advertisement? Do they clearly label their advertisements or other information? When you're doing that assessment of credibility and accuracy, go through this list and see how many true statements you come up with, because these are the signs of a really credible, thoughtful source. Once you've established that in your commentary, you are going to move on to what did you learn about your topic from this source. Obviously, in our multi-genre research project, we want to have a basis of information about our topic, but we also want to be learning a lot. So what did you actually learn from this source? What information did you add to your project, or what did you verify, something you already knew? What information did you actually pull from that source? After you've done that, make sure you're answering the big question with that source. So how did this help answer your big question? Every bit of research that you're doing should add a tiny bit of that answer, and then it all comes together at the end. So make sure you know how that source contributed to the big answer that you have for your project. After you've done that, you have 1/3 part. How did this develop your research skills? Obviously, this is something we're working on through this project. What did you have to go through in order to verify that source? So for example, if you conducted an interview for one of your genres, your source is obviously going to be a first-person interview. What did you have to go through in order to make sure that you were doing a good job interviewing, and to make sure that the person you're talking to knew what they were talking about? What kind of research did you have to practice in order to get the information from that source? So you have these 3 questions. I'm going to go ahead and step away for a second, because I know a lot of you like to screenshot. So if you want this information, here you are. Okay, I hope that's helpful. That's what you need to know. If you feel good about writing your citations, then you are good to go. Make sure that you are using your time productively in class, and also make sure that you have an exit ticket of a daily debrief. That needs to be happening at the end. If you need some help on citations, then this is it. So if you look at your citations page, you have your introductory paragraph, and then you have MLA citation format. This is the 2016 version, which is the most recent. And then you have an example from The Hobbit by Tolkien, just to give you an idea of what that looks like. I'm actually going to go ahead, because this is obviously a book reference, so I'm going to actually show you a source that I used in my project, which was obviously based on Harry Potter. So I went through and found all of this information and filled out this whole section for source number 1. I'm going to go ahead and write this out now so you guys can see what that looks like. Okay, so if we look at this format, MLA citation format, we know the first thing that comes is the author's last name. This author of the news article that I found on CNN.com, his last name is Williams, so I'm going to put Williams. Followed by a comma, and then first name, period. So his name is Williams, comma, David, period. The next thing that I need to list is title of source, and this is surrounded by quotation marks. The title of my source is the title of the article on CNN. In this case, it's Accio Payday, a rare Harry Potter book just sold for almost $100,000. So I'm going to start my open quotation marks. If you notice on your citation, it says author's last name, author's first name, period, open quotation marks, title of source, period, inside of the quotation marks. So make sure you're doing that as well. All right, the next thing that's listed is title of container. Our container is the type of media that your source is coming from. In this case, mine is a web page, and I have the full URL for that web page. So I'm going ahead and write out that whole thing now. Notice that I'm not just putting CNN.com. CNN.com will take me to CNN's homepage. I want the actual full URL that will take me to this specific article. All right, that's my full URL all written out. Obviously, this will be a little bit easier for you guys because chances are you're copying and pasting from the actual web page, but make sure that whole thing gets on there. The next section after title of container is a comma. and it says other contributors. I do not have any other contributors for this source, so I do not include that. After that, it says version. I do have a version, so I'm going to put that in. I know that this is an additional version to the article after it was first posted. It hadn't updated at, and it gave me the date. So I'm going to add that now because it shows that it is a different version of the original article. So in my case, I go to version and I put March 30th, 2019, comma, 5:18 p.m. Eastern Time. I know that that's the updated version. Most of you guys won't probably have this section unless you're using a book. If the version of the book has been updated, if it's a newer version and it's been redistributed with new information, then that's where that information would go. After we have that, we have other contributors, version, numbers, which I don't have, publisher, publication date, location. I don't have the location, but I do have the publisher and the publication date. I found this information by going to the very, very bottom of CNN's home screen, and it has the copyright information, which is generally good for you when you need to find the publication information. So I'm going to put a comma and then the publisher and publication date of my source, which is 2019 Cable News Network comma Turner Broadcasting Systems, comma, Incorporated, and then I'm going to put a comma and I'm going to put the date that it was published on, which is March 30th, 2019. And then I put a period at the very end of my citation. Alright, this is my entire citation. It looks a lot more intimidating than it is, especially if you've been keeping up with the information behind each of your sources. You want to just look at the full citation format, and you want to go ahead and just plug in information as you have it. If you do not have it, you just skip over that information and go to the next piece of information that you do have. I'll be wandering around. Feel free to flag me down if you have any questions. Just a reminder, you need to make sure to use your computer time wisely. Write the full citation for all 10 citations. Write your reflection and commentary for each one, verifying it's a credible source and what you learned from it. And then you need to end your day with a daily debrief. Let me know if you have questions. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope it was helpful. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye, guys.